The pressure is palpable whenever a performer takes the stage for blind auditions on The Voice or any other singing competition. In a matter of seconds, those individuals who are able to capture the attention of the coaches are the only ones who are able to turn the famous chairs. It is not enough for a competitor to simply hit the proper notes. They must also bring something that is raw, something that is authentic, and something that resonates with both the coaches and the audience that they are competing against. This moment would be Trevon Dawson's leap of faith into the spotlight, said Trevon Dawson, a vocalist whose emotional depth and vocal range had not yet been completely known. A risk was taken by Trevon when he performed Religiously by Bailey Zimmerman. Nonetheless, it was a risk that would change everything for him. Prior to the audition, the preparation, the thought of Trevon Dawson singing in front of an audience was not one that he was unfamiliar with. Over the course of several years, he had been perfecting his talent by performing at locally hosted shows, open mic nights, and smaller venues. On the other hand, the path that led to The Voice was a very different experience. It gave him the opportunity to venture outside of his comfort zone and into the spotlight on a national scale, a setting in which his aspirations of pursuing a career in music may become a reality. The vocalist, who was 27 years old and from Nashville, Tennessee, was well aware that The Voice served as a stepping stone for great musicians who were attempting to create a name for themselves in the mainstream music industry. Trevon's ability to transmit an emotional depth that could be felt through the screen was what set him apart from the other contestants. It was evident from the very beginning that he wasn't just singing for the judges, rather he was singing from the heart. The song Religiously by Bailey Zimmerman was an excellent selection for Trevon's audition since it was completely blindfolded. The song, which is well known for its eerie lyrics and emotional vulnerability, addresses such topics as love and heartbreak in a manner that seems to be applicable to everyone. Trevon's vocal range and expressive approach were a perfect match for the song's tone, which was a combination of country and contemporary pop influences. It was an opportunity for him to demonstrate his range as an artist, and the song, which featured a combination of raw strength and subtle sweetness, met that requirement. While Trevon was getting ready for his audition, he was aware of the significance of not just delivering a performance that was technically solid, but also making the coaches feel something from his performance. In an environment where there are a lot of brilliant competitors, the blind auditions were his opportunity to get their attention. Trevon, on the other hand, possessed one quality that could not be taught, and that was his authenticity. This is the audition. Trevon Dawson became the first performer to take the stage once the lights were turned down and the music began. At the instant that he took his first breath, the audience was able to sense the gravity of the situation. Trevon's voice pierced through the air with an emotion that could not be feigned, and the familiar chords of Religiously began to play amidst the background music. Not only did his deep, soulful tone bring the songs to life from the very first line, but there was also something compelling about the way he commanded the stage. The song was not only being sung by him, he was actually living it. Trevon's voice had a distinctive sound that immediately drew the attention of everyone in the room from the moment he began speaking. There was a sense of warmth and richness in his tone that gave the impression that it belonged to someone who had a great deal more experience. The more the song proceeded, the more his vulnerability became apparent with each note, and it became more and more difficult to turn away. His control was immaculate. He knew when to hold back and when to let go, which resulted in the creation of a perfect balance between the tender, personal moments and the soaring choruses. Nevertheless, the technical skill was not the only thing that made this performance stand out among the rest. The raw emotion that he poured into each and every syllable was the cause. There was a little crack in his voice throughout some of the most intense lines, which was a subtle touch of imperfection that made his performance feel even more authentic. The audience was able to experience the love, the desire, and the heartache that were portrayed in the song. They were transported into Trevon's world at that moment. It didn't take long before the coaches began to take notice of the situation. Trevon's performance reached its pinnacle, and the moment of anticipation occurred at that same time. There was a tangible sense of excitement in the air, and the chairs of the coaches were still sitting with their backs turned to the side. The first person to turn his chair was Michael Bublé, and he did it just as he reached the most emotionally intense portion of the song. As he took in Trevon's delivery, Bubba gasped, "Whoa," as he leaned in closer to the speaker. That was truly something that was out of the ordinary. The way you poured your heart into that performance was very stunning, and you have this deep tone that you have. However, that was not the end of it. Adam Levine, who is always quick to recognize raw talent, turned around with a huge smile on his face as Trevon's voice proceeded to soar higher and higher throughout the performance. Adam, who was obviously astonished, remarked, "Dude, your voice is extremely impressive. You have that special talent to sing a song in a way that is uniquely yours. Since the minute you began singing, I have been completely captivated. There is a good chance that you will advance to the next round of this tournament." The next person to turn his chair was John Legend, who had been paying close attention to what was being said. "Trevon, you have something that is very remarkable," he observed with a touch of thoughtfulness. "People are drawn to you because of the sincerity that comes through in your speech. Having the ability to move an audience with just your voice is a rare quality, and it is evident that you have this ability. I'd be thrilled to collaborate with you and watch you develop." After what seemed like an eternity, Kelsey Ballerini, who had been deeply absorbed in her work, finally turned around with a smile that conveyed her pleasure. It was obvious that she was impressed by the warmth and depth of Trevon's voice as she remarked, "Trevon, your tone is just stunning. I am blown away by the amount of feeling that you bring to your performance, and the way that you connect with the music is so genuine. My dream would be to collaborate with you and assist you in discovering your authentic voice. It is the choice." Trevon stood in the center of the stage, feeling humbled by the flood of adulation that he received as the coaches made their presentations. This was the moment that every competitor had been waiting for, the opportunity to select the person who would serve as their mentor for the remainder of the competition. Trevon took a deep breath and carefully considered his choices, but he found that selecting the coach whose musical style resonated with him the most brought him a sense of calm. Trevon made his decision about what to do after what seemed like an eternity had passed. As he spoke, his voice was filled with a sense of both pleasure and thankfulness. "I'm going to go with John Legend," he made the announcement. John gave Trevon a friendly smile and nodded. It was obvious that he was overjoyed to have won him over. "I can't wait to cooperate with you," she said. "I have faith in your abilities, and I feel that we will be able to co-create something truly remarkable." Resulting outcomes. Trevon Dawson's rendition of Religiously during the blind auditions for Season 27 of The Voice was more than simply a good audition. It was a moment that marked a significant turning point in his musical path. The fact that he was able to establish an emotional connection with both the song and the audience set him apart from the other competitors. And the fact that he chose to join Team John Legend looked like it would be an exciting next step in his development as an artist. Trevon would go on to hone his skills under John's guidance in the weeks that followed the audition, with the intention of bringing to the competition a distinctive blend of soul, country, and pop influences. But regardless of what transpired after that, Trevon Dawson's entry into The Voice was a leap into his future. It was a jump that, as a result of his great talent and the magnificent moment he produced with Religiously, would permanently alter the path that his career would take. Trevon's natural skill and emotional depth continued to fascinate listeners throughout the entirety of The Voice Season 27, beginning with that amazing performance of Religiously. Trevon's performance continues to be a source of inspiration for the audience.